Ooh, it's almost here. The culmination of the Chiefs' offseason is going to give us a first glimpse at what the training camp team is going to look like and what we can expect. What do we need to see this week? We're going to talk about that tonight, coming up here on RGR Football. Welcome back, Chiefs fans. Glad to see that you're here. Welcome to the breakdown. This is the Sunday night show, whether it's post-game during the season or tonight when we talk about what's going on with this team and what they're going to look like. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Oak Analytics, and this is my channel. Back Talk Bros are here. I just saw you. Hey. You can check out Stevie Gooch and Aaron on Back Talk Bros as well. I think it's worth doing. Trying to mute my phone here as we get started. Should have done that before. I'm excited because I think there's more development that we maybe didn't expect to this point. There's more things to be excited about, in my opinion. What's up, Terry? How you doing? Hey, Aaron made it. That's awesome. Everybody's here. Back. Glad to see everyone. And that's honestly where it leaves me tonight. Like, there's a few things that we have to see. Like, they are the must-haves. And that's why I put the title the way that I did tonight, because I'm excited about what the possibilities are, but there are a couple of specific things that we have to see along the way. Now, we'll take some questions here in a minute. I want to give you my general thoughts and see what you guys think, and we'll kind of roll from there. Remember, the actual Q&A show is tomorrow night, so make sure that you're liking this video, that you're subbed to the channel, and if you click the bell as well, that's how you'll find out about tomorrow night. This really comes down to how far have you been able to get to this point. And Patrick Mahomes ran offseason workouts on his own. That's key. I think that's definitely a leg up over what he had last season when he was injured. And that's difficult to do as well. So it's not that it was for a lack of organization or something like that. It was because of physically, you need to be 100% in order to do that stuff, especially in the offseason. You got to take time to take care of that. So now that it's like back to a normal offseason, it feels like they're going the direction that they need to go. And in order to do that, you got to pull it all together. And it's great to make, one-handed plays in practice and stuff like that. It's more important to be in the place and be on time and get the offense moving. Now, the defense is a different story. We'll get to that here in a little bit. If you guys want to support the channel, remember, you can always super chat. I will make sure to answer anything that you comment or question tonight on super chat. You can also check out the RGR store for gear as well. For me, a couple of things that we need to see is the must-haves. Let me start on the defensive side. We must see someone step up at the edge rush position. We must. They're not going to see their top two tackles in Lucas Niang and Orlando Brown. So it's backup level play out there. And that's not to be slanderous to Christian or to Wiley or to Kennard, certainly. But we need to be realistic. That is backup level competition at this point. Maybe that changes in the future, but at that point, that's what it is. So, hey, Tate, I'm glad you made it. That's awesome. It's definitely a different vibe when you get to be live with everybody. What do I know better? I'm not sure. Let me know what that was. Aaron and I will try to answer that. So, Chris Weeks, welcome. So, I have to see somebody step up against what is competition they should be able to do. Is that George Karlaftis? Great. Is Frank Clark, A, does he come in at a weight that makes everybody feel comfortable? And B, is he actually able to provide pass rush? Now, this is not contact. This is not full pads or anything like that. But even more so, the advantage should be in the pass rusher side. You got to see that this week. I need to understand that they're making progress in what has to be the biggest concern right now in the pass rush side of it. So, gotcha, Aaron. I won't make that claim myself, but if you say so, buddy. I need to see somebody step up. And I do feel overall that George Karlaftis is going to play a huge amount of snaps. Probably not quite as much as Frank Clark. Maybe. But I could see somewhere between 65 and 80% of the snaps, and George Karlaftis is out there. And I hope that that's the way it works out, because that says two things. A, that he's solid enough to be out there and he doesn't have to be replaced. And I'm fully confident in that. But B, that he shows that he can get to the passer some, or at least crush the pocket like I expect him to do to affect the passing game. And that's a good place to start. That's where it's got to start. But that's a lot to put on a rookie. So what I need to see is not just Karlaftis, but does Malik Herring step up and make some noise this week? And again, it's not tackling the ground. It's not hitting the quarterback, but it's beating your one-on-one. It's beating what you line up against. That's what I need to hear about. Can Josh Kando do that? Does Mike Danna have anything new to offer? Mike Danna is a solid player, and I expect him to be heavy in the rotation right after the starters, but I don't see him replacing George Karlaftis as the starter here. I don't see him starting over Frank Clark necessarily. Now, Frank's in a position that he is underweight, and that's on purpose to maybe alleviate some of his get-off issues and make him faster to the QB. Then maybe he is a third down player, and maybe that's the best way to get the most out of Frank Clark. If that's how they feel, then Mike Danna could be a starter there. But will Malik Herring step up? Will Josh Kando step up? I think a guy that's getting a way undervalued as well is a guy that's always had a lot of upside, and he's never really reached it. It's Shalik Calhoun, who's up there in age now, but he's never really put it all together. Can this staff magically get something out of him? Could it be, another player that comes to Kansas City and finds something new in what is maybe a diminished role, maybe a lesser snap count? I don't know. I don't want to say that he's Alex Okafor because he hasn't ever been as productive as Alex Okafor, but that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, right? Is a player that can play a small proportion of snaps and actually produce for you. So I'm hoping somebody steps up there. That's the number one thing that I need to see. The second one is very quickly right behind that is who actually makes their claim for the roster. We know who the top 4 wide receivers are, right? We're all comfortable with that. It's who makes that play. This is not the end-all be-all. Training camp will be that, but you have to go out there and push for it. You have to show something. If you're not showing in OTAs, it's harder to have a reasonable expectation that you're going to show something in training camp. Now, we've been misled by that before, sometimes, like Noah Gray last year, where it's so much experimentation, there's so much feeding him the ball and so much of that maybe we get a little higher than we should on him. I certainly did. But it also means that you're doing something to catch the coach's eye. So on the wide receiver spot, Fountain, I think, is probably in the lead for the 6th spot, being the designated wide receiver that plays special teams. So this really comes down to who's going to make the 5th. Is it Josh Gordon? Is it the rookie Ross, who's made some impressive catches? And if he's learning the offense enough to be in the right place to get more of those, then cheers to him. Then he can do that. Is it someone else? Is it Coleman? Is it someone out of the blue like Watson, who I didn't have making this 53-man roster when we first started OTAs? And I personally haven't seen anything to change that, but he's made some plays. We've heard the team talk about him. We've seen the beat reporters that are at there talk about him as well. So there is some precedent for it, and I'd love to see that. But for me, it's about, do you go grab it? That's the deal. Go take that spot. Go say that I'm the 5th and make it yours. Don't just kind of float along and be the best option when it comes down to it. Go take that spot for yourself. That's what I want to see. The other big thing, and I talked about this on Locked On Chiefs, that will actually premiere here on YouTube, I think at the top of the hour or just after. So you can check that out as well. It's got to be also that, how do they come together in the secondary? A lot of new faces, right? Both at corner and at safety. Clearly, they've emphasized a lot of coverage lately in the way that this offseason has gone. In cover first, pass rush second. The coverage should slow down the ability of the quarterbacks to get the ball out. That should help the pass rush. That seems to be the process that the Chiefs have decided to undertake. Does that pay off? Or is it still a work in progress? Have they gotten to the point where right now, generally in OTAs, the defense should have the upper hand? Let's see if that's actually true. I'm looking forward to that. So those are my big keys, and that's what I'm looking for. Will we be surprised, or will somebody else stand out? There's a number of things. I'm going to give you guys a couple of the quick hits this week. Lot coming on, and I'm going to be shorter in my production times lately, so we can get some more things like out snappier. It seems people like that, and I'm trying to be more responsive to news and what's going on as well. Jake, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you very much. Sorry. And Oscar's next. Where's Tershawn Wharton in all the defensive line talk? I haven't heard much about him lately. He's right in the mix. He, Stallworth, and Saunders are the backups. Noddy should be starting with Chris Jones on first and second down, but you need a pass rusher specific. It should be Wharton. Wharton's the best pass rusher of the three of them in terms of talent. There's a question like, can he hold up? Can he continue to push against stronger, bigger dudes inside? Or does he need to play some end as well? That's an option also. I'm really interested to see if they try to do with Wharton what they did with Chris Jones last year and move him around and try to circle him. He had such a great rookie year, and then he kind of plateaued and he didn't make a whole lot of development progress last season, right? And I think people got down on him. But I think this is the time where normally defensive linemen hit a spike. So I'm very optimistic about what he could be bringing. And that rotation is wide open. If you want to be the designated pass rusher that gets to play between George Karlaftis and Frank and Chris on one side and George on the other, go take it. Go stake your claim. And I think Tershawn Wharton ends up doing that. Jake, thank you for the support. You've always been one of our big supporters, and I very much appreciate you. I know this Sunday nights in the offseason is kind of fun, right? It's definitely different. Oscar, thank you. I'm glad you could catch it live too. It's definitely a different feel, isn't it? Hope all is well, but realistically, what week do you see the defense gelling and the offense clicking? That's a great question. As they stand now, I think the defense is probably a little bit farther behind just because, TAs, you have the one-on-one difference that you're not playing full scheme and that kind of thing. When it gets to the regular season, there's still a lot of install. There's still a lot of hit and miss and assignment-based stuff that they have to learn and know cold. And that, I think, over the years has been a little bit more challenging on Spag's side than it has been on Andy Reid's side. It's also that there's so many new faces on the defensive side of the ball. So I think in general, the defense is going to be 4 or 5 weeks behind the offense. I think the offense will be clicking by week 3. They have a possibility to come out hot as well. If they've really narrowed down on distributing the ball like we hope that they will, then they could come out hot right away. You got to hope that they do because the schedule is going to be tough in the first half. There's a lot to it. But thank you, Oscar. Appreciate you. Chris Weeks, thank you for the support. Always appreciate you as well. With hearing that Gordon is looking good, do you think that they're talking him up to try and garner trade interest, or does he have a real shot? That's the serious question. If he continues to show something, I'd love to see them get trade value for him because I think they want to stay young at the position, in all honesty. I just don't know how much trade value a 31-year-old wide receiver is going to garner you, especially with his past. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody just wanted to see him catch on with another team and show that he's in shape. And from all intents and purposes, it sounds like that's the case. So you'd love to see somebody raise their level of play that makes other teams interested. This is what we've seen in years past. There was the Charvarius Ward trade a couple of years ago. When he came to town, it's because of how he played in the preseason for the Dallas Cowboys. So there is precedent for that. I think the complication of being the older guy is a little bit tougher. Now, you're not going to do that with Sky Moore because Sky Moore is going to be in the heavy rotation. But is there any other younger players that could garner that kind of interest? Possibly. And I think along with this whole distribution type change of the offense, maybe that allows more people to shine at least a little bit. And then maybe you can then react to it and get yourself more from that standpoint. That might work very well as well. But the other thing is you need a 5. And if he's proven that he's advanced farther than he did last season, when I think he got thrown into the fire and he didn't quite learn the offense and he was just kind of, they were still in that mode of trying to force things to Tyreek some, and the way that it all went down, I think maybe he's got a rejuvenation in terms of a second shot and understanding where he needs to be and what he needs to do. And maybe that actually makes him more of a legitimate threat this year. I hope so. Chris, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. As always, let's see here. Looking for other questions, folks. You guys know the drill. Questions are always easier for me to find if they have a little question mark in front of them. And I think we have some coming from Gooch here in a second, but Alyssa's up first. How did you come up with RGR? It was a series of things, to tell you the truth. My writing days ended badly because I didn't play well with others, and they didn't appreciate my honest opinions of their favorite team. And then I had a series of shows where I always had partners, and I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to do or do it the way that I wanted to do it. So I decided to go rogue and start this to do things my way, in my point of view, the content that I wanted to make in the order that I wanted to make it, and not really play by anybody else's rules. So that's how RGR got started, is just wanted to get out there and do my own thing. Thanks for asking, Alyssa. I appreciate it as always. Gooch is in the house. I'm looking forward to the anniversary huddle. I hope you guys are ready. You will see that when it's shot and recorded. I'm very excited. The group has definitely gelled and come along and changed a couple of things. It's going to be great. So I don't have the release date for that yet, but it is coming. So you guys continue to make sure that you check out Rogue Head Huddle. It's late in the week. Sometimes it's Friday if we get that, and sometimes it slips to Saturday. You'll see it one way or the other. And I think you're going to really enjoy that one in particular. So it's going to be great. And then get over and check out Back Talk Boys, Bros. Man, I always say boys. Sorry, fellas. Back Talk Bros. To see them do their thing. Just like I wanted to get out and do things my way, they want to do things their way too. And it's not quite the same as what we do on RGR. So go check them out as well, in addition to. Okay. Stevie, do you think there's any value on the roster? Okay, sorry. That was not meant to me. That was meant for Stevie. And Gooch, again, I bet with all the talent, we keep 7 wide receivers. That's interesting, Gooch. I have a hard time seeing that just because of all the DBs that have talent too. Like it just seems like, because the top 4 are probably set, like it seems more of a stretch to keep an extra wide receiver at 7 than it is to keep 10 DBs, 6 of them corners or something, is kind of the way that I'm feeling right now. But you may be absolutely right. So I think it's happened twice before in Andy's career. So it could actually happen again. Who knows? I'd be interested, Gooch, in who you think 5, 6, and 7 are if they do keep 7. So hit the chat. I want to know that. Let's see. Next one. Paddock, how are you? And Gooch, thank you as always. Hey, Ryan, could Josh Gordon push Ross to the practice team since you already named a 6th? He could. And I think getting Ross to the practice squad is probably going to be okay. There were a lot of teams that had an opportunity to sign him and didn't. So I don't know that they're going to come running unless he explodes in the preseason. So that makes sense to me. Either of them should be able to do the job. That's the way that I feel about it. And whoever goes and takes that and shows that they want it and that they're going to get it done, that's what I'm really interested in. Jerome, hope you were well. 7's a good bet. Not sure where it comes from. Yeah, and that's the big question. Zulu, thank you for the sticker. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Let's see. Other questions, folks. I'm going to try to hit those. And then tomorrow night is the Q&A, the official Q&A. So we will hit all of them tomorrow night. Don't miss that. That is a nice long show that this is funny. Yes. Let's see if you run down the Tyreek podcast. Don't listen to that to yourselves. It's only going to make you frustrated. But tomorrow night is the full show that you guys want to be here for all the questions and answers. Gooch, thank you again. I personally think they signed who they want in Hardman, Juju, MVS, Moore, Gordon, and Ross. And Fountain. Sorry. And Fountain. Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. I mean, it may come down to if they think they can actually get somebody to the practice squad or not, or if they get a trade offer for somebody. Let's see if they make a concerted effort to feed one receiver or another in the preseason, because once camp comes around, I think that may actually be the thing that might give us an idea of if they're trying to pump up trade value or if they're just trying to explore, like, what can he do for us? That may give us a clue. I'm looking forward to that. Eric, he's got the OTAs under his belt, and now Flash will show off his stuff. I hope so. I really do. I think that would not only be a good story, but I think that'd be good for the team. So, okay, great. So Stevie said it's been filmed. Now, imagine someone editing Pulp Fiction for the Disney Channel. So you're calling me Walt Disney, huh? Okay, I get that. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you want the brashness, yeah, I want everybody to see this. So we try not to get the algorithm upset with us here on YouTube. So it makes it a little bit difficult. You guys are going to want to see it one way or the other. I guarantee it. Realistically, where do you rank our running back group? I mean, until I see him run this offense, I'm going to be pretty low on him. Bottom half, certainly. somewhere between 22 and 18 is probably where I'd put him. Iron Man, MVS, Juju, Skymore, Hardman, and who? Yeah, those are the top 4. And then Ross, Fountain, Gordon, I think are fighting for 2, but they would be probably the leaders for if they keep 3. David, who do you think will start at CB2? It depends what CB2 is. If CB2, like Legere should be CB1, meaning outside when they only have 2 corners on the field and moves to nickel when they're in 3. The other guy that I think is going to start opposite him consistently is going to be McDuffie. I do feel confident about that. And the interesting there too is I hear that he's getting nickel reps as well. So you could see them like shift things and not always give a team the same matchup. And I like that possibility. I think Fenton's probably the leader to be the 3rd right now. I actually have Lonnie Johnson right behind him there. So then Josh Williams, Caprio Boodle, I think they're fighting behind that along with DeAndre Baker. That's a pretty good room and a pretty good competition to have. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Oscar, one more. When will we get more of you, Seth, Daniel back together? Really like all 3 of us. Thanks. I appreciate that. It's definitely a different kind of conversation, and we don't get to as many topics, but we get like a more 360 view of a few. And that's just timing. For those of you who don't know, I have to move out of my home this month or at the end of the month here and searching for a new one and that kind of stuff. So my schedule is going to be dependent on what's going on in my personal life. And that's the way that it's going to go on. So, I hope that we can do that. And if not, hopefully we can get the 2 of them back together again and doing that more consistently because I thought it was a lot of fun too. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Oscar. Hope everybody else did too. True Brown, realistic wording rank. Okay, got that one. I will send around members only version if he wants. Yeah, I can certainly do that. That makes a lot of sense because I think it's worth everybody seeing at least a piece of the anniversary show for general audience, but we can definitely put the real deal up behind the members too, because the algorithm won't punish us for that. So thanks, Stevie. That's a great idea. And Holly, if that was your idea, kudos to you. Can we get Hunt back? If he's released, I mean, you could have a conversation. I kind of feel like the bridge is probably burnt with ownership. So I kind of doubt it. Has anyone as shocked as me about the Garrett Jeter retirement? Okay, it's a bit tongue in cheek. Yeah. I thought he'd stick it out. I thought somebody would probably bring him into a camp, but evidently not. Oh, man. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Stevie. That should be entertaining. Yeah, I'm Garrett Jeter, good for him for getting going, and I just don't think there was enough interest around the league. So sometimes you just got to know when it's time. Good for him for doing it. What's the confidence level in Cook and Chanel being big impact players this season? Those are my 2 favorite picks of the defense. Chiefs will Chief. I like your picks. The question for me is going to be, how do they decide to use Chanel? How much do they pepper him at a non-off-ball linebacker spot? That will determine how much I think impact he has. I think Cook's going to have a big impact because I think he's going to play a lot. Probably not as much as Dan Sorensen, but kind of in that role and in that vein. So I think he'll have the bigger impact. And I think he'll be right there with Thornhill and Reed in terms of being on the field a lot and coming up with some plays. He's great in making open field tackles. It's his strength. And he can take the ball away. And that's what I'm hoping that he kind of leans more towards. Ryan, moving out of the mountains. No, just moving around the mountains. I can't go back to the city. Not here. So no. I'll still be in the mountains, but I'm looking in an area specifically that has better internet connectivity and that kind of thing. So hopefully the channel and the visual here on the streams should get hopefully better. Knock on wood. Let's see. We're going to wrap it up here in a minute, folks. Joshua Williams has been making plays. Will we see him come along quicker than people thought? Very possible. I think he's a guy that just needs opportunity. He's a very cerebral player. From everything that I saw on his film, which admittedly wasn't a ton because it's very hard to get Fayetteville State film this year. I have seen it in years past, but not this season for whatever reason. He looks explosive. He looks like he understands the game in a way that allows him to make plays. And so really it's about the transition to the speed of the athletes that you're playing against. And he's got the athleticism. So I do feel like he's got a lot of upside to go find. And if you make plays early, that's great. If you consistently do that, that's even better. And that's what we want to see this coming week. but it will come down to, do you make plays when the pads are on? That will be the determining factor. And I think Boodle, Baker, I think they're all kind of beating each other up to try and find a roster spot. And that may be what it comes down to. So that's where it is for tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for all the support and all the super chats. Always appreciate that. If you're new to us, make sure you like this video and sub to the channel, and then click that bell so you find what's going on. Making sure I didn't miss any other questions before we sign it off for the night, and it doesn't look like it. So kept it nice, short, and sweet. We should have some news. Practices on Tuesday. So tomorrow night will be Q&A, full gore. Dan will be here as well. And then we will get back to actually having some updates once the team hits the field. So cross your fingers. If you're just watching this post live, let me know who you're looking most forward to this week in the comments below. I want to know who everybody's kind of focused on so that I know what I should be, make sure that aside from my personal interest, like what I should be paying attention to for you guys. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday night. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow.